So, number 5 on our list of greatest players of all time. This guy came in with 32 points. Uh, Jacob, everybody, again, from here on out, all of us rank these players. It is going to be nothing more than the big fundamental, Tim Duncan, coming in fifth with 32 points.
Oh, that's a bit low.
Uh, yeah, I think so too, but, some of them. Bobby and Max, you ranked him about here. Go ahead.
You want us to take it? All right. Well, again, I looked at his prime of his career, like I did with everyone. Great numbers. I think they probably would have been better if he wasn't in Greg Popovich's system. But 19.9 points a game, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, efficient shooting of 50%. I mean, great player, and he made 6 finals appearances, which we talk about great players making it that many times.
He was a
Obviously,
Ray Allen shot away from being 6-0 in the finals.
yeah.
Oh,
And am I correct that he won 50 games or more every year he played?
Um,
I
I
believe he
know
did. I could be wrong.
it's definitely the longest streak of 51 seasons.
He won. He lost it one year because they only played 50 games.
So discounting that year, because that's just you can't really. Outside of that year, was that the lockout year?
Yeah, they were like 50 and 16 or something like that.
I
But also,
say
Yeah, it was.
model of
It was
winning.
98. When they only played
uh,
50 games, so
I know he has the most regular season victories for one player with one team, which is over. He had 1,001 victories with the Spurs, which is like insane for one team.
And again, I think his numbers wasn't high if he didn't play in Greg Popovich's system, but he was like one of the ultimate team players. He did what was asked of him.
This is the player that I believe Phil and I are talking about that we think is the best of his generation, better than Kobe Bryant. He did everything you want. People don't put him in that Kobe Bryant category because he wasn't flashy. He did everything you wanted to do. They call him Big Fundamental for a reason. Did everything by the book. He was just phenomenal. Loved Tim Duncan. Again, like I said, if Ray Allen missed a shot, he'd be 6-0 in the finals, and people would talk about him even more highly because he would have had the same. He'll be 6-0 like Jordan.
hmm
So
yeah. What I like about Tim Duncan, as opposed, like he just I don't think people stress it enough. He just played the game and just did fundamentals, bank shots. Wasn't really flashy with a crossover. Good bank shots, layups, good post moves. Had excellent mechanics. The dude was actually, if you look at his earlier stuff, he was a heck of an athlete. Um, he was an amazing athlete, and especially when you look back to his earlier Spurs days, two-time back-to-back MVPs, was part of one of the greatest dynasties of this 2000s era, and probably of the NBA with the Spurs. He was the head. He was the leader. He also took that role. David Robinson was the man till Tim Duncan got there, and Tim Duncan was one of many. Won the Finals MVP in his second year of his career. The always big downfall on him was he wasn't flashy. The team wasn't exciting, but that's what he just did what he needed to win. You don't always need to be flashy and exciting. You just got to win the game. That's what the point is, to win the game. Um, Five-time champion, three-time Finals MVP. Honestly, 2007. If you did a playoff MVP, it should have been Tim Duncan. Tony Parker outplayed him in the finals, but still, the whole playoffs was Tim Duncan. He also was in not an easy era of big men in the West because you had KG. Think back to KG, Shaq, David Robinson, Kevin Garnett.
Um,
Kevin Garnett, Chris Webber, Dirk Nowitzki. Kevin Garnett used to talk about how he always wanted to talk trash to Tim Duncan, and it wouldn't work. But Tim Duncan would say sly comments to him, like, "Yeah, score that on you," or 10 points on you.
yeah,
Just little whispers that.
he's like, oh, another one. That's a great story. If you, yeah, listen to Kevin Garnett's interview about Tim Duncan. That's fantastic.
And he used to drive KG crazy all the time. I think when you look back to him, he was the heart of that Spurs dynasty, and you see after he's left, the Spurs have not been the same. Had such longevity to his career. Again, just was the ultimate. Popovich player. Was perfect. Could have probably done more, but acted the same way whether he missed a shot or made a shot. You talk about one of the greatest players. He's Jacob and I both had him second on our list.
Yes,
It was
sir.
just like I
He's the
just can't
best
really argue. The man
best
was
power forward of all time.
Yep. Max, your floor.
The only thing I'll add to Tim Duncan, the great thing about him is that the way he played the game, you could play it from year 1 to year 19 in his case. It didn't depend on overly on his athleticism like other players. He just technique, hustle, awareness. He just had it, and that's why he could play for 19 years and still be effective from year 1 to year 19. Was he understood the game, and he played it. Many would say the right way.
Hmm. And was huge in because I feel teams take the identities of their star. That team took the identity of Tim Duncan, especially if you watch their last championship in 2014. Team game. The team comes first. That's always what Tim Duncan was. Team comes first. Had great statistics throughout the playoffs. Yep. There you go. Tim Duncan.
I'm
All
mad that
right.
he's all the way at fifth.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that one, but whatever. Bobby, I can't hear what you just said.
Oh, sorry, my mic was muted.
Hmm.
That's fine.
So,
Before. That's fine.
moving on to, well, there's a tie in our third place.
All right.
There's a tie between two people. They just edged Tim Duncan out by 1 point. Tim Duncan had 32. These two people had 33 points. Larry Legend Bird and Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. Um, we're gonna go through all of us. Jacob, you ranked Larry Bird at the lowest at your sixth spot, and then Hunter and I ranked him at our fourth spot. Bobby, you ranked him number 3. Max, you ranked him number 5.
Oh. Wow. Well, I would say his career was cut short due to injuries. He didn't have as long as a career as some of these other guys. I mean, look, he's a 12-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, 2-time Final MVP. I mean, he wasn't the greatest defender, but he still made 3 All-Defensive teams. And for his career, 24 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Those are solid numbers. And they would have been higher if he shot more threes.
Yeah.
His 3-point percentage for his era, 37.6, is certainly higher than almost anybody was shooting at that time. So he was definitely ahead of his time as far as shooting 3 is concerned. But he was one of the best shooters of all time. 88.6 from the free throw line. He's a 3-time champ. He was probably the second greatest player of the 8. Well, I guess Kareem might have been both eras, but a second greatest player of the 80s, in my opinion, besides another person we'll talk about.
And
But really, yeah, go ahead.
He would easily have won more if it wasn't for a certain, Laker.
I mean, him and the other person helped revive the NBA in the 80s.
And no one talks about this, but Larry Bird was actually a pretty good head coach. He only coached for like 3 years, but he took the Pacers to the finals.
I believe he won Coach of the Year one time.
He's the only person to win MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year.
It's just funny because, he took the Pacers to the finals, but lost to the Lakers, a team that he always rivaled. So, actually, and he's... I was going to say, he's a 2-time member of the 50, 40, 90 club, so, which is pretty insane once you think about it.
Yeah.
And then he's one of the greatest trash talkers of all time too.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
he's one of the greatest. I think he's probably the greatest trash talker.
Yeah. So if you get a chance, listen to stories of players talking about his trash talking.
And he never lost to Michael Jordan in the playoffs. I know it was early Jordan, but still, it's just interesting.
He said Jordan was like God out there, Jacob. So no one ever said Jordan or LeBron was God.
Not this way.
We don't need to say it. We all just okay. This is not a conversation now. Different
It's
conversation
assumed at this point. It's just assumed. They don't need to speak it. They already know it's a fact. Anyway,
So what you gotta say about Larry?
Back to what we were talking about. Do you remember three-time Finals MVP, 3 consecutive years? Do you remember he
He's a
won it from
two-time
'84
finalist.
with Magic Johnson, older Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas was in the league, Dominique Wilkins, Charles Barkley. They had some pretty good players in the league. That Boston team was dominating the East with many stars with it on it, but Larry Bird was the leader. You talk about trash talking. I remember they would talk about, I think it was the Hawks players. If you see this clip where the Hawks players are going crazy because literally Larry Bird was pointing to a spot saying, "I'm gonna shoot it right there. You're not gonna stop me." And he would literally went to that spot, shot it, drained it, and even the other team's players were going crazy over him shooting. Um, when you talk about his trash talking, amazing player, really probably one of the key reasons of why the NBA is what it is now, of why we have local games. Also, was one of the reasons why the finals format was the way it was because they didn't want to fly between LA and Boston. They didn't want to do that consistently all the time. Just for fun fact for all of you guys, why they had the 2-3-2 format when it came to the finals that they've done away with and now have switched it to back to 2-2-1-1-1. Was because of flight travel. Was again part of a huge franchise. Larry, you talk about it. Larry Bird was just something else. You know.
His ball handling skills is better than most people probably don't realize, especially newer fans. But just watch clips of him, his passing. He was also a fan. He's one of the
Great passer.
better passers that I have seen for a guy his size. So it's just amazing what he was able to do. Especially not being that great of a natural athlete. So.
Also, iconic moment when he stole the ball from Isaiah Thomas and passed it in for them to win and win the Eastern Conference Finals and go on. Part of one of the arguably the greatest teams of all time when I think what was it 80. Sorry, I have to look at the year. 1985, 1985, 86, one of the greatest teams of all time. People have argued that Celtics team beat the Houston Rockets in playoffs. So it's very hyped up season. Yeah, I don't know what else you can say about the man.
No, that's nothing.
Part of the dream team. And, yeah. All right,
If it wasn't for
let's
Magic,
talk about.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the other guy and the other half of this, Wilt Chamberlain.
Let me just say, this dude averaged 50 points in a season. Man, what area 50 points?
Who had him the highest? Who had him the highest, Phil?
Wilt Chamberlain. Hunter had him the highest at second. Max had him the highest at fourth.
Okay.
He was 5 of mine.
He was 5 on mine as well.
Like I said,
To this day, you look at records; they'll show you records for regular season or playoff about rebounds or blocks, and it's always Wilt Chamberlain on top, and you never ever see it broken ever.
Nope.
yeah, no one's going to score 50 points in a season.
He averaged 22.9 rebounds per game for his career. That will never ever be broken.
7-time scoring champ. How many rules were made because of him?
All right.
And how many records does he still hold?
No one's gonna touch his points per game or the rebounding records. No one's gonna
points per game. Him and Jordan are tied for points.
Jordan has that. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about
talking for a season.
For the season.
Oh yeah.
And,
Or his minutes, because one year he averaged more minutes than time you could put on the court. It was like 48.2 or something.
50 points a game, 48.5 minutes a game. And man, I say a lot of people say people back then couldn't play. He was one heck of an athlete.
Yeah, he was
Back in field star, he did the long jump. Heck of an athlete.
What what many people forget is he also ran. I think he ran the 100 in under
Yeah.
10 seconds. The dude's 7 foot tall. That's pretty
Oh yeah,
impressive. Like, or in like ten
absolutely.
seconds or something. The
Like,
dude's 7 foot tall. Like the
he's
dude
on par
is.
with today's athletes.
Yeah, he really would have. I mean, it was just the guy. I don't. I mean, you can say it's competition, but still, the numbers he put up were ridiculous.
And he
Oh,
was a
well, he put
one-time.
up those numbers.
It was a one-time assist leader as a center, so that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, 1 year he averaged 8.6 assists. And if
So
they counted blocks, who knows how many blocks he would have had?
In 16 seasons, he was a rebounding champion 11 times.
And 7-time scoring champ. And guys, we haven't talked about it yet. He scored 100 points in the game.
100
my
points.
God.
That well, like I don't know. I don't even know if anybody's gonna ever get the Kobe to 81, much less 100.
And another fun fact, guys, in 1968, he was the first player to post a 20-point, 20 rebound, 20 assist game in history.
You talk about players that could have won more. He was one. He
Yep.
was ran one of the greatest. The Celtics. He had to play the Celtics every year, and they constantly just, I mean, he was playing 7 Hall of Famers. Some people will argue Bill Russell won more, but I will also point out, look at how many, uh, Will Chamberlain got his numbers, got a lot of numbers on Bill Russell.
I mean, Will Chamberlain's like the definition of a video game character. Like the My NBA players with all the stats up, that's Will Chamberlain in real life.
He also put up video game numbers in another avenue of life, but we won't go there.
Yeah, we ain't gonna go there.
Yeah.
No, but, I mean, I'm sure most people are surprised to find that he only won 2 titles. But I mean, it's not only 2 titles. Just winning one is good enough. But I'm sure more people would have been impressed. Yeah.
Don't forget, Finals MVP. One-time Finals MVP in '72 with the Lakers. Still one-time Lakers team. Him and Jerry West, one of the greatest. Again, arguably one of the greatest teams. A lot of people did enjoy that one. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that, man.
Time MVP, but yeah, deserves a spot in my opinion.
Very much so. All right, so we're gonna move on to our number 2 player. It is going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or also known as Luol Cinder.
Man,
All
all-time points leader.
one. No, he was Hunter's number 1, and Max and Jacob, you had him at number 3. I had him at 5.
I mean, legendary Skyhook.
Yeah, probably the most unblockable shot of all time, and they didn't count blocks with steals for his first 4 seasons, so who knows what those numbers will look like. I mean, this man, like I said, all-time points leader, 6-time champion, 19-time All-Star, 6-time MVP.
He's a 2-time Finals MVP, but what's impressive is he won it, 1971, but he won it 14 years later, 85. That's just insane. That all those years later, he wins another Finals MVP. That's just crazy. That speaks to his longevity and how consistently good Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was.
Outside of the 50 Celtics, he might be the best winner of all time, counting college.
Yeah, because he got 3 titles in college and 6 NBA, something like that.
And then I think he won like several in high school too. Like he won at every state he played.
And I think he was like the first mega high school recruit. Like, not what it is today, but he was like one of the first ones that the media followed constantly while he was in high school. And he, like I said, he made it so they banned dunking when he was in college. That's how he got the skyhook. It's ridiculous, this man's talent.
Yeah. He also, when he was a freshman, the UCLA team also ended up beating the freshman team beat the senior team, in his first year, which was like UCLA was a powerhouse at that point. So You know,
And for those people who don't know, back in the day, freshmen didn't play. They weren't allowed to play with the varsity team.
That's crazy, actually.
'Cause
yeah.
otherwise, he would have been four-time NBA champ or NCAA champion.
One
Very.
unreal thing about Kareem is that he played 20 years, and for his career, he averaged 24 points. That's impressive. And in 20 seasons, he went to 19 All-Star games. So only 1 year he did not. So every year he played, from rookie to when he was an old man with a bald spot on his head, he dominated.
Oh yeah, very much, very great player. Constantly, in his first, he also was at, I think his career high is 34.8 points in a season. You think back to that Lakers, Showtime Lakers, Kareem was a huge part of that. Milwaukee, he was also one of the first ever megastars to force a trade somewhere else because he was too big. In Milwaukee, kind of very controversial move. Sometimes I think he's hurt by the fact that he kind of a controversial dude in some of the stuff he's done in activism and all. Some people have not always liked him on certain things. He's taken.
That only. I mean, that like now only helped his greatness, but yeah, definitely back in his day when that happened, when you're
And
being, it probably
he also
hurt.
had a cameo in one of the greatest comedy movies of all time, Airplane.
Who can forget that? I mean, what else could be more said about this guy? Dominant force. One of just best players you can ever see. Very much, sometimes underappreciated. Now I'm going to go into some honorable. Kareem had, by the way, Kareem had 39 points. So I will go now into some honorable mentions. Uh, Steph Curry with 2 points from Hunter.
Well, I'll be honest, I didn't do any active players, so that's why some of these
I
guys who
didn't,
think would be on the list are on there.
I didn't do any current players. I wanted to wait till people are retired. The only one that would have made my list would have been LeBron, but obviously this list is not LeBron or Jordan, so he's. But yeah, I'm gonna wait till people are close to retire.
Yeah, same. The other one, Kevin Durant, Hunter, and
Yeah.
Mac Adam.
Again, I'm just waiting for people to retire. Otherwise, he probably would have been on my list.
If Durant wins the title, not on the Warriors, he will probably definitely start getting up on my list.
I think also probably the greatest like 3 level scorer.
Oh,
Where
absolutely.
Yeah,
like,
I would definitely agree with that.
like 30 feet in, you gotta guard this dude. Even talk about the shot yesterday. PJ Tucker played like perfect deep.
Perfect
I
defense.
don't know what
Nothing you
else
can
this
do.
man could have done. Just swish it. It's ridiculous what this man can do. Another one with 2 points coming off Bobby's list. AI.
Hey, he kind of revolutionized the game for the early 2000s. He was like the icon of the early 2000s. Was his look, his attitude, and the fact that he carried that Sixers team to a final speaks
It's
to his
just not.
greatness.
I like Allen Iverson. He was one of my favorite players, especially in 2K to play as. But top 10, nah, I couldn't be that generous.
I think
Yeah,
his impact
definitely,
on basketball culture is good, greater than his
yeah.
on court.
I mean, he was definitely one of the few times a player pretty much took a team to the finals. By yourself, some people would, probably disagree, but he didn't have a true second star like most finals teams do.
I would say if he was taller, he would a lot more lethal. But just the fact he was that short and still was that dominant, it's a testament to his skill level.
And he crossed up Jordan. Not many people can say they did that.
Well, in his rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, the man was all around crazy athlete. I will just kind of the success. He kind of was about Iverson at times, which kind of killed his career. I'm with Max. So I think as an NBA icon and impact to the game, he's probably up there as probably one of the top 10 in like impact to the game and like his style. Another one voted by Max. I think one of the most all around players, Kevin Garnett.
Oh yeah, Kevin Garnett's one of my favorite players of all time. just the way he played both sides of the court, defensively and offensively. He was so intense. And without him, certainly they would not have won that. In Boston, they would not have won that championship. And it's a disgrace that the Timberwolves could not get better talent around him when he was in his prime.
Yep. Because they only went past the first round, I believe, once, the Timberwolves. And
They made the conference finals, I believe.
Yeah. They made the conference finals and lost to the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's insane. Garnett's really good. I wouldn't. He's not the best power forward of his generation. Obviously, at least in my opinion, we have Tim Duncan higher. But he's good, and he was also one of the first, not first, but he was like one of the better shooting power forwards because he could shoot.
That mid range was deadly.
Mid range was great. One of the top tier trash talkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Also, early in his career, many people, young people, well, not that we're that old, but still remember he had a quote 6'13" point guard. He did it all. Like the dude was playing point guard in parts of his Minnesota career because, like, he just had nobody else. Couple of another one, Karl Malone and Charles Barkley. They weren't on my list because I didn't have. If you didn't win, you weren't on my top 10 list.
So great players.
I had
definitely
to
top 20.
I had to include Karl. I wanted to have one player that didn't win a ring, so I can say that it was, I think, the best player to never win one. I think Karl Malone is the best NBA player to never win a ring. All the point stuff. If it wasn't for Jordan, he would probably be a two-time champ. But I mean, a lot of people in the '90s could say that Barkley probably would have won one if Jordan didn't exist.
Yep.
So, but that's just I had to pick one who didn't win the title, and I chose Karl Malone.
Also, longevity, long career. He had a long career.
Second leader in points.
Very good. Charles Barkley.
Yeah, I think people underestimate how great he was just because people just think he's a clown or whatnot. And a lot of people today just do not realize how great that man was. That's why he was on my list, to just show that, yes, he was one of the greatest of all time.
Great rebounding for how short he is, like 6'6", and very good.
And he actually wasn't a bad passer and ball handles. He was a very people need to watch like full games of him, especially on the Suns and the Sixers.
Yeah.
It was just great stuff. I loved watching old playoff games from the '90s. With watching people in the play.
Especially if you have time watching the '93 Suns with Kevin Johnson and Charles Barkley. That was his MVP year. Like that was a good team. Like that's an underrated team.
Yeah.
And this last one was by me is going to be Isaiah Thomas. Now, the reason I put Isaiah Thomas on the list, I'll admit, growing up, I was not a big fan of Isaiah Thomas. It's later in life I became a big fan. You have to also think Isaiah Thomas is the only man who's beaten Jordan, Bird, and Magic Johnson in playoffs while they were still at prime level. Took down Celtics dynasty. Bulls dynasty had to go through him and beat the Lakers dynasty while all three were still in their prime. Maybe later in the career, but still in the prime. One of the only players to do that. You cannot discount him. His scoring ability is ridiculous. Go back into 1988 finals. Drops a ridiculous amount of points while having a plum ankle in the Game 6 to force a Game 7 versus that Showtime Lakers. Played out of his mind during then. You talk about the Detroit Pistons, very much underrated team because of the way they played and the style, but you got to remember, Isaiah Thomas was the leader of that. He could drop points with the best of them.
And great passer.
Yeah, and rate him very highly. So, I mean, his executive skills and coaching, that's a whole other story. But as a player, one of the best ever. So, to finish it off, our number one player,
no surprise,
with a astounding 47 points. Three of us, Jacob, Bobby, and myself, all put him number one. Max put him number two. Hunter put him number three. Magic Johnson.
Of course.
No surprise.
The best Laker of all time, and it's
I agree.
It's better than Kobe.
His career did get cut short, unfortunately.
It's not a controversial opinion. I'm sure a lot of people would agree that he is the best Laker. Other people would say Kobe, but I mean, he was just phenomenal. Best passer, one of the best pure point guard of all time, and I don't know if you'll be able to get to that level again of Magic Johnson.
Best point guard of all time. There's no debate with me. He averaged 11 assists a game for his career.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
amazing. 5-time champion, 3-time Finals
Yep.
MVP, 3-time MVP, 12-time All Star. Unfortunately, career was cut short due to
HIV.
HIV,
And,
but still came back and played a little bit.
and one of the most iconic moments, at least in my opinion, of NBA history is when he started at center and won the game in the finals, won the championship, starting at center
Hmm.
for 3. Because I think,
Yep.
yeah, I have it here. Yeah, he had 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists in that game. That was insane.
Damn.
I mean, a 4-time assist champion. This man could do it all. He could score. Like if he wanted to, he could drop 20 on you. But he was all about passing it, passing to his teammates.
The best, I think
Yeah,
he's the
was
best passer of all time, for sure.
I agree.
Tactical
the
genius.
leader of the Showtime Lakers, which was such an the most iconic, like I think the most iconic team, especially Showtime Lakers was everything Hollywood. One of the people that saved the NBA and made it what it was. By the way, he was the best player on the team that also had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I
And
mean,
another Hall of
pretty
Famer, James
impressive.
Worthy, as well.
James Worthy.
Hmm.
I mean,
For
Yeah,
his
James
career,
Worthy.
yeah, sorry, for his career, he only lost 8 playoff series. Only.
It's insane.
He had the best series win-loss ratio of anybody on my list or anybody anyone else's list. 32-8.
he lost 8 playoff games. That's ridiculous.
No, 8 playoff
Yeah.
series.
Oh, serious? Okay, that's one.
It was, and also went to playoffs 9 times. Went to finals 9 times.
Yeah,
Or
9
is it
times in that
nine
13.
finals?
No, he went to 9 times. He was 5-4 the finals. 13-year career, went to the finals 9 times. That's crazy.
He's more often going to the finals than he's not. You talk about him, you think about players nowadays. You think LeBron, Giannis, Ben Simmons, Luka Doncic. He was the
Yep.
first big point guard.
Saved the
He was the
winner.
first guy 6'9" point guard, started that, and could do a lot. And just the charisma. Again, executive skills not the best, but still.
Again,
charisma.
watch his highlights. Watch those passes. Some of those passes, I still don't know how he made them.
Oh yeah, when he would go like boom, boom, throw it. Also, the iconic moment where he does the baby hook to win versus the Celtics. Yep. I mean, what else can you say? So there you go. That's our list for greatest NBA players of all time, not including Michael Jordan and LeBron. Maybe one day when LeBron James is retired, we will go and visit that debate of Michael Jordan versus LeBron. Maybe there'll be another player that rises through the ranks and we think is that good. Maybe we'll sit back after some more people retire and be able to add some names, maybe Steph Curry, maybe Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic. I mean, granted, that would be a long time from now on. Yeah. But, we never know what's going to happen. That's what we got. If you all can share, comment below, give us a 5-star rating, or subscribe, subscribe,
All
turn your
that.
notifications on, share, all that good things. Let your friends know about the core discussions, rave about it. Give us some comments. Maybe you have a topic. Maybe we hit a player you like. Maybe you liked our list. Maybe you disagreed with our list. I don't know. Just to run down the list real quick before we leave. Number 1, Magic. Number 2, Kareem. Number 3, Wilt Chamberlain and Larry Bird. Number 5, Tim Duncan. Number 6, Shaq. Number 7, Hakeem Olajuwon. Number 8, Kobe Bryant. Number 9, Bill Russell. Number 10, Oscar Robinson. So thank you guys for tuning in to another show. My name's Phil. You can also call me Legacy. You can follow me at wisdom_legacy on Twitter. The guy next to me, Max, go ahead. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Max_Derringer. Go ahead and hit me with a follow.
All right, Ian, where can we find you?
You can find me on my channel, Ian Lesbian. To be safe, be 17 plus. Just nothing bad on it, but just in case.
Vitamin J.
Yep, you can find me on Twitch, Vitamin J. Other than that, there's really nowhere else to follow me at this time.
And Bobby.
Bobby D3. But yep, I got nothing right now on social media. So at some point, if I do, I'll let y'all know.
Send Bobby
All right,
smoke signals.
Yeah.
Till next time, thank you all for listening. And Ian, hit me with that outro music.
赤い夕日と青い愛情と黄色の希望を力に無限の未来を心に抱いて仲間を信じて駆け抜け